Hey everybody, welcome back to Awaken Intuition. My name is Steve and I have been absent for a week. Before I get into the topic of the video, for those who are subscribed and watch my content, let me just say sorry I've been so busy. I have been through a couple of rounds of interviews with things. I've been changing around the apartment, moving things, moving furniture, getting settled into all these new things, and basically just keeping myself going in the flow of life. So it has been a busy time for me, but I'm here with another update, and I want to talk to you about past labels and letting things go that are no longer serving us. This has been really coming up for me a lot. Okay, so let me just open up about myself a bit here for those who don't know. I feel like I struggled with depression my whole life, basically. And I'm just going to lean back and get real casual with it. And essentially, what happens is I've been living my life this whole way of being depressed, being bogged down, believing a narrative about myself that I had learned as a young person or through a traumatic experience. And what that does is it continues to stunt your life progress as you go through the years. Okay? So let's put it this way. When I was younger, I felt that I didn't have value, that I was not really good here, that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, that I was, just a real burden, that I had to carry the burden of everybody, that this was my story that I had to do, that this was the reality for me, and that I was depressed, I didn't have people, this wasn't going to work for me, and I was just going to be a lonely dude who had to basically carry the burden of my family and loved ones because everything was in shambles, essentially. And what does that do? It does two things. One, it creates a narrative that I am playing in my mind subconsciously, that I am carrying out through my existence, and it also is attracting those situations into my life. Okay? When you are believing a narrative or a label that you have set on yourself or that someone else has put into you that you allow to run rampant in your mind, essentially it plays out in your life as long as it needs to until we realize it and we stop it. Okay, now this leads to a couple of things, right? These labels don't actually hold any value. Once you disassociate yourself with them and realize that's not true, that's not who I am, that's not the story that I have, it all changes, it all goes away. The problem is a lot of people don't want to let go of that, and so it continues to play out where we have a now consciously more aware mind, but we're living in a state of being where we're not matching what we believe. So in other words, we're going through life with these negative replaying emotions and traumas and beliefs and labels, essentially, and we are not getting rid of them. We're not applying the newfound lifestyle. And so there's a clash and there's a dissonance, right? And it affects our lives and it affects our livelihood. What this means really is that it can be seen as a good thing because on one hand, we're making progress and we're trying to change. But on the other hand, we're giving too much power to a label that doesn't necessarily have to have power, okay? If you realize that that's not the story you want, and that's not the label you are, and that's not the stigma that you need to carry out for the rest of your life, then it doesn't have to be that way. Plain and simple. It does not have to be that way. But it's very hard, and it's egocentric, and it's very hard to dissolve that barrier, okay? Between the changing world and the sturdy ego mindset that has been there. We have these neural pathways in our minds, like feedback loops, and when we think and we do things, our brain is reinforcing the information we're processing. So what happens is you're reinforcing a negative belief, label, or story about yourself and your life that is continually playing out, okay? And it becomes ingrained. It's like weeds. They pop up and they spread everywhere, and it's a pain in the ass, to be quite frank with you. And the longer we do this and give power to a thing that doesn't even need to have power, the harder it can be to undo, because we're not realizing that we have to just let this go, okay? It can also play out a couple of ways, People who are insecure of their looks, like that happens to me sometimes. People look at me and they say, you have nothing to be insecure about. What's the deal? Why are you insecure? Why is this bothering you? And I say, I don't know. It's just every time I look at myself, I feel this way, But that's a story that I've reinforced in myself since I was really young. I think probably as early as like fourth grade, third grade, I've been telling myself every day, I don't know about you, man. You doesn't look good. You don't look good today. You don't look good. And now when you reinforce that behavior over and over again, that stigma and that label, that is what I will begin to perceive about myself. My aura will present that. And I'm a pretty confident dude, but in terms of social conversation and things like that. I'm very outgoing, but there's always that thing in the back of my head that says, you know, you could really look better. Or my apologies, I'm gonna have to do some editing there. You're gonna see a jump. Somebody showed up at my house unexpected, so sorry about that. I was like, who's here? What's going on? What was I saying? I was saying that essentially we are reinforcing these negative behaviors and these negative insecurities, and it becomes part of our label. And it can be a really hard label to drop if we reinforce it over and over and over again, or we can simply just say it doesn't matter. And a lot of the times people don't even notice, you know. So just talking about the looks in general, people say, I don't see what you're talking about here. Why are you insecure about that? It's just small, it doesn't even matter. But to us, it's like, oh my God, and it kind of eats us alive, right? So the same thing is true with our major life decisions. When we say things like, oh, you know, I have to carry the burden of all these people. I'm just a depressed person. This is what I go through. This is my life story. Here it is. Then that is most definitely what we're going to get, right? But it doesn't have to be that way. And that's a very cold realization. I have actually been dealing with this a bit lately because, you know, with the interviews coming up I've been doing and all these situations happening in my life, I'm kind of like, I need to be confident. I need to crush it, basically. And I've been so busy, so I haven't been able to really get up here and do these videos, so I'm sorry about that. That's kind of what I meant at the beginning of the video. But these old labels are coming up for me, you know? I'm saying, man, I'm struggling with people in my life. I'm struggling with situations. I'm feeling depressed again. I'm feeling like I'm not worth enough, and that's not okay. That's not a good way to go through life, but it's just a reinforced behavior that's coming up to the surface and saying, hey man, this is not gonna work. This has got to go. You got to drop this label. This is not who you are. This does not have to exist. And I need to do that. And we all need to do that. That's actually, quite frankly, the human condition. This is the problem with basically everyone. Sure, everyone's problems are individual. Everyone's problems are different. But everyone has problems, no less. And that way we're all the same. And we're going through our lives and we pick up burdens from others. Maybe it's something that someone said to you when you were a kid. Maybe it's something that someone said you couldn't do. Maybe it's an abusive situation. Maybe it's trauma. Maybe it's just a negative self-belief and self-image issue that you've carried out for all your life. But we all do this. And the quicker we can all shed that away, we'll realize that, one, everyone's not so different after all, because everyone likes to think that we're all this just separate, you know, being, which is not true. And two, they'll realize that our problems will start to go away. Think about it this way. If you change your mental perception of yourself, your life will change. Your aura will change. Your presence will change. The literal vibrational thought that you put into the reality and the existence that you're in will actually change the people around you. It will change the way they look at you. It'll change the way they respect you. It'll change the opportunities and abundance you get. But that's because you made the change, okay? Once more people start doing this and they stop dropping these labels and they stop doing this bullshit and they go on with what they want to do and essentially are their authentic self, the whole consciousness is going to change. The whole collective energy is going to change, because as we go on and we interact with people in our environments in this negative pattern way that we've been inducing in ourselves for our whole lives, we are actually putting this on to everybody else. And then everybody else is putting it onto us, and then everybody's doing this. But if we change ourselves, the mirror of reality is going to reflect back the new way, right? Look at yourself honestly, you know? Look at yourself honestly for a second and say, what are some things I don't like about myself? What are they? Be brutally honest. What do you do wrong that is not right? What do you feel is a negative behavior that you tell yourself every day that should not be? Or that you've, regardless of how you learned it or what you learned it from, what is not supposed to be here. And I guarantee you're going to find things that are somewhat alarming and somewhat disturbing. And that is the first step. But not a lot of people want to be honest with themselves and realize this. I had this conversation yesterday with a friend of mine. And I said, we can have anything we want. Life is fruitful and beautiful. We can have anything we want. We can let go of all this BS. But we have to be honest with ourselves. And I said to them, what is it that you want to let go of? What don't you like about yourself? And they said, I don't know. And they kind of just shut down and said, I'm good. I don't need to change anything. But if that were the case, then they'd be living their ideal lifestyle. You know, they'd be attracting a more ideal lifestyle. They'd have a stronger way of going about things. But when you say things like, I don't have any issues, I'm fine, I don't need to do that, it's kind of just denial. And two, it's just that I guess they don't feel the need to do any work. But if you're watching a video like this and you are subscribed to my channel and channels like mine, you are already probably doing this. And the truth is, you're not going to have success trying to tell them all the stuff that I'm telling you. I mean, we get this content because this is the type of people we are. But when we inspire others, it's only because we've changed ourselves. Think about that. You know how hard it is to convince people of what we're talking about? Whether it's religious or not, or politics or anything like that, people don't want to listen. They're set in their ways. But when they see somebody who has evolved their lifestyle, who lives well, who's happy, good relationships, friends, pretty much money's coming in, no problems, everything's pretty good, they wonder, how do you do it? Why are you so happy? What's going on with you? And you say, look, man, I let go of all these things that didn't help me, and now look where I am. And they're gonna want to change, but you have to let go of the labels first. If you want to help everybody, you have to help yourself. If you want to change the world, you got to start with the man in the mirror. It's such a simple message, but it's such a profound message because it's overlooked. You know, everyone wants to change the world, but they don't change themselves. And the more work you do on yourself and the better lifestyle you live, the better life you will have. I can prove this because my life fucking sucked a few years ago. I was so depressed. I was down on my ass all the time. And excuse my language, but this is real raw thoughts here that I've been having for like a few days now with all this stuff coming up. You know, this is a real situation. We have all had these problems, but I've been down on my luck. I was having a negative lifestyle. I was having constant drama, constant problems. And the more I let go of those labels and those beliefs, the more room I had to have success and joy and prosperity and the things that really matter to me. You know, I don't need to be a multi-millionaire to be happy. Honestly, I don't think anyone does, but you need to cultivate that happiness within yourself by removing the things that don't matter. And you know what? I run into people now that haven't seen me in years, maybe 5, 6 years, and they say, wow, you're totally different. You look totally different. You are totally different. How did you do it? What happened? What has been up with you? And you just say, man, it's been a long ride, hasn't it? But you see, it's the effect that I have taken on myself that actually affects the others. It's the reason I'm here talking to you. And I again apologize. I have been absent, but nonetheless, I am trying. And I'm here doing this because I've made the change internally, and I have the strength now to do this in front of a camera and speak to you. And maybe that's going to change you. Maybe you're going to do something. Maybe you're going to find that inspiration and success to do that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what you're going to do. If you don't want to change and you don't want to let go of those labels and you can't honestly face yourself and your inner demons, then you can't move on. Essentially, you're going to be stuck where you are. And the longer we wait, the more difficult it becomes. You know, I have these conversations with people who aren't about this life and aren't about this content, and dude, they just shut down. Honestly, they can't handle it. I've had this happen to me many times where I've said the same thing I'm saying to you, and I've said it to other people, and they just can't handle it. They don't know what to say. They don't understand. They just won't accept it. So what do we do? I speak to you because you understand and because I can get it out, and it's to a community of people that actually gets what I'm saying and doesn't feel like it's wasted energy, because maybe you could take something away from it. And two, because it's just to show more and more people are out here doing what they want to do. You know, if you want to do something, why not just do it? Right? It's that simple. I was at the bar the other day. I wasn't really drinking. I was having like food with my friends, and they had a karaoke thing going on. And you know, this guy comes up to our table and he says, "Hey man, why don't you go sing to me?" And you know, I mean, I'm a musician. I play cello and piano and stuff. And I said, I don't know. He said, "Really, you shouldn't." And I had this real good feeling about it. I said, maybe I should sing. It'd be kind of nice. Why not? I only have one life. Maybe I should just do it. But then all these things started coming up, saying, "Oh, you know, I don't know. I mean, what if they laugh at me? What if I am insecure? What if I don't look cool? What if I don't?" And all these BS excuses came up to stop me from celebrating what was supposed to be celebrated. You know, I had a good interview. Things went well with me. We were out having food and celebrating, and I could have brought a lot of joy to the room and had fun and expressed myself, but I didn't do it because I was just living out and playing labels on myself that I put on myself. And how is that helpful to go through life? How is that good to do? I'll give you another example. I was down by the water, you know, and we were just walking by the boardwalk. I live on Long Island, so I'm by the water. I live down the street from the beach, basically. And I'm, you know, walking by the boardwalk, and I get this feeling. I'm like, man, I want to swim in that water right now. There's people here, but, you know, I want to swim. And then all these voices came up. Oh, are you really gonna do this? You're gonna take off your shirt. You're gonna look weird. All these people are gonna watch you. You're gonna be so embarrassed. Are you really gonna do this? They're gonna laugh at you. And all these stupid, self-limiting voices came back and said, you can't do that. But that's the problem. Because why does that voice have to hold weight on anything that we do? Why does it have to matter? It should not. And that's the point of this video. You have to take control of your life. If you want to make something happen, you have to do it. You can't let these old habits and these old stories take hold over you when they aren't even relevant. You're in the present moment now. You're a creator. We as people are creators. And I know this video is going on for a while, so I apologize, but we're creators. And if we want to go through life successful, then we need to change what we're creating. And the fact is, we're always creating. Our minds are always working. We're always moving. And if you have these old habits coming up and they're limiting you from expressing your joy and living your lifestyle and talking to that stranger on the street and making that conversation and getting that business connect, and you're not doing it because of something that happened in the past, that is a waste of the creative ability of the human essence, right? That's literally what we're doing here. The Lightworker people and us and people like me and you, we're doing this because that's our job. It's our job to help the world and be sociable and be outgoing and change and be the model of what we want to experience. But if we're not being good models, then we can't do the goal. We can't make the collective ascension. We can't do that because we're limiting ourselves because of some egoic, weird personality trait that's saying, no, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And that's BS. You know, I'm telling you right now, I have a lot of growth to do. I'm not a man who claims to have all the answers. I'm not a man who claims to know everything. But I can tell you as living proof that my life has substantially improved from this. And I'm telling you right now, the more we change and let go of these labels, the more fruitful everyone's lives become. So, yeah, I'm feeling a bit fired up about it. But I've had a lot to think about the past few days, and I just haven't had the time to say it in the video. So enjoy, hear it all is at once, basically. That's about it. That's a lot of information to digest, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're still checking in. I apologize for my absence. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everyone's just doing all right, even if things are kicking them while they're down and they're struggling. Hang in there. Get rid of those labels. Focus on yourself. Change. Look within. What is holding you back? Be honest with yourself. Look in the mirror, and then the reflection will change little by little, time by time, and you will start to experience a much more fruitful, successful life, I promise you. So thank you for watching all the way through, even with my little edit jump cut from earlier. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.